So I've managed to make it to day 3 of Vlogtober, and I'm going to do something a little different today because so far it has been very uneventful. It is quite late in the afternoon and all I seem to have done today is spend most of it either working through computer problems or using the computer. I've booked the ferries for my husband going south off the island in a couple of weeks' time, so at least that job's done. So instead, today I thought I would do a yarn stash tour. If you're not interested in that, that's fine. I'm of the curious nature and I like to have a little nosy in little things like this. So I thought I would do a flash your stash, yarn stash tour. Most of it, at least. I do have some larger quantities of kind of workhorse yarns like the drops and stuff upstairs in the in my office, but they're pretty much not very interesting, and I have some of the single balls of it down here anyway, so I can show at least some of it. But behind the camera here I have a set of drawers which I have my seasonal altar on top of, and these drawers I intend to paint in a couple of weeks time, so I will also show that on Vlogtober, but I will show you what is in them, and what is in them is a lot of yarn. Okay, so let's go in with drawer number 1. And this is where I keep most of my sock yarn. So let me just adjust this camera a little bit. There we go. And yeah, I keep my sock blocker in here. This one I got off Etsy, and I generally don't block socks. I use this for showing the socks on the podcast. Okay, so you can see I have quite a big bunch in here, and we will go through them. I tend to favour West Yorkshire spinners a lot, so I have a few of theirs. I have this colour here which is in nutmeg, and I have Christmas yarns. I also have some vintage sock yarns. These are all sock yarns, so that's a vintage one. And some more vintage St. Ives at the back. More West Yorkshire spinners. I have a few of these, which are, I never know how to pronounce, Serdar, in the Heart and Soul. I believe there is another name for these as well. I don't know whether they're marketed as one name UK and one name the US, I'm not sure. But there's Heart and Soul, and there is another name for this sock yarn as well. And I have a few of those. As you can see, that one's West Yorkshire Spinners in colourway Owl. More Heart and Soul, part used. I use this for a pair of socks for my husband. And more Heart and Soul. And I actually don't remember which brand this Tiger Feet sock yarn is actually, but I made my husband a pair of Tiger Feet socks with that. I also have some Regia in the Eco line, and I have a skein of Burgundy in the next drawer down of that as well. And Drops Fable, Toes and Heels type yarn. Actually that one is for a cable sock, I'm planting it. More West Yorkshire Spinners. This time is DK weight. And some random part used balls and skeins over here as well. These have been used for Toes and Heels, and this is part of what I'm using for a pair of socks I'm currently knitting on, which is King Cole Zigzag. I also have some Cascade Heritage in pumpkin orange, and I have a skein right in the back corner here. This one is an indie dyed yarn. This one is by, there's a bit of stray other coloured yarn on there. This is by Old Maiden Ant in the colourway Bitter Bug, and this one you can see is on Stellina base. Drawer number 2. This one again is mostly sock yarn and straight balls of yarn. So more West Yorkshire spinners. That is to go with this one. This is DK weight and this is fingering weight, but I really wanted this colourway bubblegum and it's discontinued now, so that is to go with the rainbow yarn. More Ecoline, more Christmas sock yarn. I have 2 skeins of the Superba Vintage by Rico. This one, which kind of to me looks like chopped up licorice all sorts. They are for a pair of socks for my husband for Christmas. And same yarn in an autumn colourway. These are for a pair of socks for myself. I also have random balls in here and also some single balls of the drops that I have upstairs so that I can put colourways together down here for like colour work and such like without having to drag out the whole stash upstairs. So I have some red left over from knitting my Hetty cardigan, and what else we got? It's mostly random single balls and leftovers. This I used for the spiderweb design on my Orkney sweater last autumn. So that's mostly kind of sock yarns and workhorse yarns in there. Here is mostly handspun yarns, and I will change the position I am in now to show you these. Okay, I will try not to crinkle these too much, and I will, if possible, reduce the volume down when I am crinkling it too loudly. So I have some yarns that I've made. These are all my hand spun that I've already done. So this is from a braid created by LCB. This was a custom bat that I bought and has been spun. It's like an ombre, like a gradient. It goes from a very dark red through to silver and then into white. More created by LCB. I love this one. This one is Polworth Tencel, and it's just a lot of pinks. Not really my colours, but I love the shimmer and shine on this fibre. And basically just a lot of random hand spun skeins of yarn, which I have no idea when I will get round to using or what I will use them for. Maybe I'll make a very funky cushion, who knows. I also keep my Holst Super Soft in here. I have a few skeins of this, or a few cakes of this, but this is a bit tricky to get hold of now since, since the dreaded B word really, because they came from Europe. Okay, we're going to get into a bit more interesting now. We're into indie dyed yarns and hand dyed yarns, which is a lot more interesting than my sock yarns. So I do have a bit of fibre in here because I don't have enough room, obviously. So I have a braid of, I don't even know what this is anymore. Oh yeah, it's oatmeal, BFL and Cecil in sugared berries. I will take it out of the packet. I loved this fibre when I came across it. It's kind of autumnal or Christmassy without being Christmassy. I don't know, I think it's just the richness of the colours and the berry colours, but I really love it. I don't know when I will get round to spinning it because I haven't done much spinning lately, but it's going to look lovely when it's finished. Another created by LCB, I have to say, is my kind of go-to for braids of yarn, or braids of fibre rather. I just love her colourways. So this one is Rose Mint Tea. So, hand dyed. I still have yarns in here from when I went to Perth Yarn Festival 2 years ago. So in here is a skein of 50% camel, baby camel, 50% silk from Dye Ninja in cyan colourway, and it is so soft. It's super duper soft. I plan one day to make a shawl with this. speaking of shawls, I also have 2 skeins, one with the label coming off, of this yarn, which I also bought at Perth, which is from the Wool Barn, and it is, let me find the other label because that one's been torn in the wrong spot. It is 80% superwash, extra fine merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon in the colourway Toffee, and I just loved it. The colour on this is so pretty. It's got so many golden undertones, and I don't know, it's just such a nutty colour. I loved it so much. So I got 2 skeins of this, and one day I will make a lovely shawl because it's got a cashmere in it and it's just so soft and lovely. I also have my own hand-dyed yarns in here as well, because you know, you can't be a yarn dyer and not stash your own yarns. So I have a skein of the recent collaboration that I did for Perth Yarn Festival this year. There was a Haste You Back collaboration with 9 other dyers, and I kept a 100-gram skein of the colourway for my own personal stash because I've never made a colourway I don't like, which is kind of a problem because you want to keep it all, but I kept a skein of this for myself. This skein I bought 3 or 4 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, and I bought it with a batch of other dyes kind of just before Christmas. It's my own Christmas present. This one's from Pixie Yarn in the colourway Away with the Fairies, and it's kind of like a pastel rainbow, but without being distinctively rainbow. It's so bright and colourful, like a bag of sweeties as a child, and I love it. I have no idea what I will use it for. Maybe something like the Gaudet sweater by Julie Knits in Paris. That one looks really nice in a dark colour with a very variegated, bright variegated yarn in the colourwork, so that might go for that because it is merino nylon, so I won't be using it for socks because it's too soft for socks. This skein I have 2 of. I actually have no idea where the second skein is. It must be upstairs in the other yarns, and it is a sparkle yarn by Old Maiden Ant. I really like Old Maiden Ant's yarns. This one is a merino nylon stellina, and it is in the colourway Dreek, which if you're not from Scotland you might not know, but Dreek means, it's hard to describe. A Dreek day is what today was this morning. It's not so bad now, but it's kind of miserable and gloomy and damp, kind of. So that's what it is. It's this tonal blue grey, and I have 2 of these because I plan on making yet another shawl. I don't know why I want to knit shawls. I don't actually wear them very often, mostly because I don't go anywhere to wear shawls very often. I spend a lot of time at home, and when I'm not at home I'm doing things like shopping, although I guess I could wear shawls for shopping, or I'm in the garden or somewhere like that, or the like a coastal walk or something, when a shawl is just going to blow away. I don't know, but there's something about knitting shawls. So yes, I have a shawl planned for this skein and the other skein that goes with it. This skein is losing its label too. This one is by Felt Fusion. Let me try and get it in focus. There we go, Felt Fusion in the colourway Vintage Christmas, and it is a merino nylon as well. Originally bought to make socks, but it is very beautiful. It is kind of, I don't know what it reminds me of. I can understand why it's called Vintage Christmas. It's not Christmassy to me, but it does have that kind of vintagey feel, like a nostalgic feel in the colours, and I'm not sure why. I can't really pin it down. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know, just, I don't know, it's just something about it. And the yellow looks really bright in here today. It doesn't usually look this bright, so I'm not sure I'm going to use it for, but I look forward to using that one. I have a bunch more of my own in here as well. This one in this kind of, what I would call a mouse, kind of like a vole. This is 100% merino singles, this one in this kind of cool light brown, and I have this one in the same base, which is more of a warm, almost a terracotta-y brown, like a light terracotta. Will probably get used in something together, though I'm not sure what. I have 2 skeins of the cool brown and I have 2 skeins of the warm brown. I don't know. Singles is kind of tricky. A garment in a singles will be very pilly. So I'm not sure what I will use that for yet. There will be a use. Probably shawls. I have a cake of my own yarn in the colourway Nephrite Jade. I only have 1 in here because the rest is in a project bag with a project. The Nightfall cardigan, which I've knit the yoke for. I also have 2 skeins of a cool grey in my yarns as well. Strike that, I have 3. I also have a whole bunch of minis in my own colourways. I don't know why these are in my stash and not on the website. Especially this one, because I love, maybe that's why, because I love this one. I don't know if it's going to focus or show the colours, but I really like this. I also have some minis by another dyer. These are by Pixie Yarns, I believe, actually. They were my yarn advent calendar from a couple of years ago, which is why I didn't have a yarn advent calendar last year, because I have these left which haven't been knit, and from the year before I still have some minis from that too, because I don't really do things like scrappy blankets and such like. The other minis from the previous kit are in a project bag to knit the Mild Magic sweater by Stephen West. These ones, I'm not sure. I'm tempted to knit a shawl that would kind of go with everything, because they're a bit more subtle, these ones. The other ones are very neon, these are not. They would be as bright as I would happily go in my wardrobe. The Stephen West one that I'm planning to do with the other, I'm going to take my cardigan off, I'm quite warm. The neons, they're held double with a strand of mohair, and I'm using an undyed mohair, but they're still coming out very bright. I'm not sure what to do. Maybe what I should do is use these minis for the more Mild Magic sweater held with mohair, and use the neons to knit a shawl as a gift. My mum wears brighter colours than me. I'm not sure if she'd wear neon though. I maybe have to think on that one. Okay, we're into the, well, it's the second to bottom drawer, but the bottom drawer isn't worth looking in because it's just random little scrappy balls. In here we have indie dye yarns as well. Okay, so I have some yarns. Oh look, it's Old Maiden and there's a surprise. This one, these two actually, were bought at Edinburgh Yarn Festival 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. I can't remember what year I went, but I bought these two to go together in a shawl. There's a surprise. So I have this one, there we go, and this one to go together. I bought them specifically. I fell in love with this skein and I found another one in the same base to go with it. I'll try and get them to focus. There we go. And they are in 50% merino, 50% silk. They're very pilly. You can tell they're kind of fuzzy, that they're going to pill. These were made to go together in a shawl, and I believe the shawl is oh, the name eludes me. It's by a Scottish designer that used to live in Orkney, and I'll try and remember and put her name up on the screen. But it's kind of got like a cable border, and I just fell in love with the shawl years ago, and I thought these would go really nice together in them. I also have some commercial yarn here. I have a skein of Ella Ray Cozy Alpaca in this bright scarlet red, and the remains of the beige colour, the cream colour, in the same base, and this is a 70% acrylic, 30% alpaca. I did have a green skein, but I used some of this and the green to make a cowl. I also have some of my own yarns kind of bagged to use together in projects. So I have 2 skeins of pumpkin picking and a skein of rock salt. I'm tempted to knit, there is a Caitlin Hunter pattern that I have in my library, which is kind of like a summery t-shirt with a lace bottom on it. I can't remember what it's called, but I think I was going to use those for that. I'm not sure if I'm still going to use them for that, but they'd be destined to go together in a project. I also have 3 skeins of my colourway Carnation, which I plan to knit a cosy sweater with an undyed mohair silk yarn held double with it to make a floofy, speckly, light coloured, just a cosy sweater. Not sure which sweater, probably something fairly plain, maybe a v-neck. Ooh, what was that one with the v-neck in that I liked, I saw the other day? I did see one and I added it to my favourites on my Ravelry. So I might do a cosy v-neck with those. I also have 3 skeins of merino nylon cashmere in my own yarn. This was a base I tried and I wasn't happy with, so I kept quite a bit of it in my own stash. And this is kind of like, it's almost like a blancmange pink. No idea what I'm going to use that for. Pink velvet, that's what I was going to use it for. Andrea Mowry's pink velvet. Although, I don't know, I might... It doesn't look as pink as it does on camera. It's a bit more subtle than it looks on camera. And I was going to use this yarn, which is from Cinnabar Pink. And this is a mohair silk with that, because the design has like a colourwork yoke, but the colourwork you actually do in the mohair is quite it's got quite blocky design in it, so you use a completely different base. Actually, she used the same colour of base but different bases for the sweater, but I think I will be using those together. I also have 3 small skeins of pink in my own yarn. These might get over dyed because I don't really wear a lot of pink. I have 1 skein of hollyberry and some leftovers in there. 2 skeins of mustardy gold in the same cashmere merino blend that I discontinued. I have way too much yarn in here. And also a kind of buff colour, again in the same base. Oh! And a kind of a dusky pink too. I don't know, that would be an American colour mauve and what I would call a dark dusky pink. I didn't plan on this being a show and tell of my yarns, my personal dyed yarns. I didn't realise I had so many, to be honest. One of my first ever colourways I did, Queen of the May. Or is it Maypole? No, it's Maypole. That one's Maypole. And is it going to focus? Probably not. There we go. And a skein of Yuletide Felicitations, which has got little green, gold and pink flecks in it too. That is almost all of it. There is a few more skeins of my kind of semi-solid colours, but I think we're going to leave it there because I didn't intend this to be show and tell of my shop, really. I didn't. I do have some other dyes yarns in there, but a lot of other dyes yarns are also on projects as well, or has been used. And I haven't been to any yarn festivals for 2 years, obviously, because, you know. And I like to buy dyers yarns at yarn festivals where I can see them and fall in love with them and put them together and things like that. So, yes, that is the majority of the interesting parts of my yarn stash. So now I'm going to go put all these away before I make dinner. because nothing else interesting is happening today. We're going to watch some more of Haunting of Hill House. Wasn't as scary last night, which is great. Just gonna grab something quick and easy for tea today. It's probably something from the freezer because I just want to relax now. I've been computerizing so much today where now I just want to put the TV on, get my knitting out, do some knitting, maybe go for a wander around the garden and the greenhouse just to get some fresh air now that the sun has come out briefly, because it was torrential rain this morning. And yeah, we're forecast for some storms as well this weekend. So when I say storms, I mean windy storms. Boats cancelled this evening, or boats been rearranged this evening, the ferry. So yes, so I will see you again tomorrow. No idea what we're going to do tomorrow again, so yeah, see you on Vlogtober day 4 tomorrow.